Hello, Dr. Hicks. This is my submission for Assignment 9, Course Redesign. The course I redesigned was Title IX Training, an online course with the purpose of educating students on how to recognize, prevent, and report sexual misconduct. I'm not faculty, but I was asked to create this training for my institution this semester to meet a federal requirement. The thought was to use the redesigned version in the winter semester. The training is asynchronous, self-paced, not graded, and not yet required for credit by the university. As I mentioned in my draft proposal, a significant challenge was the content, which could change soon due to a recent proposal by the U.S. Secretary of Education. The course is currently available in our LMS, Canvas, which I'm not able to give you access to, therefore I will provide snippets of the module I redesigned, which focused on consent. The introduction of the course welcomes the students and informs students that it is a video that they are to watch. And it also talks about who the contact is for this content, which is our Title IX coordinator, Dr. Mamie Thorns. This training was really the content that belonged to our Title IX coordinator, and so I had limitations on what I could and could not include in the introduction. If I was the content owner, I would include in the introduction more information on how to navigate through the video when the pop-up self-tests appear, a disclaimer that the content may be of sensitive nature, especially for those who have experienced sexual misconduct. I would also outline in the introduction the learning objectives, as upon completion of this training, you will be able to recognize and understand the definitions and protections of Title IX. You'll identify the elements of sexual misconduct, recognize the ways to prevent sexual misconduct, and understand how to report sexual misconduct. There is not a syllabus for this course. The links to campus policies and resources for Title IX are found in the Modules tab, which I'll open up here and show you. I had recommended that these hyperlinks be included, and the coordinator was actually pleased with my forethought. So we have a link that will take you right to the Title IX webpage, the SVSU Athletics Title IX information page, our student wellness programs, and then there's a national video called Step Up, and it talks about bystander training. Before I actually open up the training video, I will point out to you the quizzes tab. What we had done here is create quizzes. It's actually 5 questions to assess the students remembering and understanding the lower stages of Bloom's taxonomy, and that is at the very end of the training. The quizzes are not graded. There is no score for them. And basically it's just to assess what they remembered from the actual information they were given. The video also included closed captioning to include or to make things accessible, and then alt tags for images. The learning activities are scaffolded by introducing the definition, providing a scenario, and a self-quiz, which is the practice, followed by a video. And then the videos were actually created by our own students, so it's peer-to-peer. And then tips for how to apply the definition if necessary. I'm now going to show you the intro of the video, and then I will stop it and discuss the layout and design that I selected for the redesign using H5P.
Saginaw Valley State University is dedicated to creating a campus community that is safe and respectful. The purpose of this training video is to educate students on how to prevent and report sexual misconduct. To begin, do you know what Title IX is? Title IX is a civil right that prohibits sex discrimination in education. Title IX applies to all students regardless of gender identity. Title IX of the Education Amendment Act of 1972 requires that all entities receiving federal funds or financial assistance prohibit sex-based discrimination and sexual misconduct in their education programs and activities. In 2011, Title IX was expanded beyond protections for only student athletes to include all students. It provides protections for sexual harassment, discrimination based on sex, sexual assault, in pregnancy, and parenting. SVSU's policy for Title IX is explicitly explained in 3.6-1 Sexual Misconduct Policy located on the SVSU Title IX webpage, www.svsu.edu/TITLEIX. Here is the Title IX website. On this website, you can find the policy, which is located here. You also can look at university representatives, frequently asked questions, how and who to report sexual misconduct, resources and support. Also on this page, in this purple button, is the link to report sexual misconduct. Saginaw Valley State, SVSU, is committed to creating and maintaining an educational environment free from all forms of sex discrimination, including sexual misconduct. The university expects all community members to help create a safe, welcoming, and respectful environment on campus. Any act involving sexual harassment, violence, coercion, and intimidation will not be tolerated. SVSU also strictly prohibits the offenses of domestic violence, dating violence, sexual assault, and stalking. Saginaw Valley State University's Title IX policy applies to conduct that occurs on the university campus, as well as any off-campus conduct that affects the participation by a member of the SVSU community in a university activity. It also applies to all university programs and university activities. Let's take a look at some definitions and scenarios that Title IX protection covers. Title IX covers sexual misconduct. Sexual misconduct includes all sex and gender-based harassment, sexual assaultment, dating, domestic violence, sexual exploitation, and stalking. So what exactly is sexual harassment? Sexual harassment also includes gender-based harassment, which may include acts of verbal, nonverbal, or physical aggression, intimidation or hostility based on sex, even if those acts do not involve conduct of a sexual nature. Examples of sex and gender-based harassment include, but are not limited to, explicit sexual pictures that are displayed in a professor's office, on the exterior of a residence hall door, or on a computer monitor in a public place. A student who repeatedly sends sexually jokes around on an email list even when asked to stop, causing one recipient to avoid the sender. At this point in the training, it is important to define consent and share examples so you may recognize what is and is not. Consent is clearly communicating yes about sexual activity on your own terms. Consent is a clear, unambiguous, and voluntary communication of willingness to engage in specific sexual acts or behavior expressed by words or clear, unambiguous action. Consent cannot be inferred from the absence of a no. A clear yes, verbal or otherwise, is necessary. Silence, passivity, past consent, or lack of active resistance does not imply consent. Consent must be clear and unambiguous for each participant throughout any sexual encounter. Consent to some sexual contact does not imply consent to others, nor does past consent to a given act imply ongoing or future consent. Very importantly, consent can be revoked at any time. Consent cannot be obtained from someone who is asleep or otherwise mentally or physically incapacitated, whether due to alcohol, drugs, or some other condition. A person will be considered unable to give valid consent if they cannot fully understand the details of a sexual interaction, the details of who, what, when, where, why, or how, because they lack the capacity to reasonably understand the situation. Consent also cannot be obtained by intimidation, threat, coercion, or force, and agreement given under such conditions does not constitute consent.
Before I go into the next videos that were created by our students, I wanted to talk a little bit about the design and layout for this. I aimed for a consistent look and feel with self-evident titles. I avoided tables and automatic transitions between the slides to keep things simple and readable. To facilitate engagement in this training, I included elements of self-test and peer videos using H5P and Camtasia. If this were my course content, I would include at the end of the training a critical reflection or analysis activity by using a voice recorder similar to the H5P tool. This would be an optional activity with a disclaimer due to the sensitive nature of the content. As you may have noticed in the video, I spell out hyperlink text when facilitating. Due to this being asynchronous, self-paced, I intentionally did not build in any learner-to-learner interaction or facilitator-to-learner interaction or collaboration. The self-tests do offer some feedback on the answers. And there are community resources that are listed at the end of this training module that include crisis phone numbers and counseling support. Now I'm going to show you 2 videos, and the intent is to give the student a deeper, go into a deeper stage of Bloom's taxonomy where they would learn how to actually apply some of these tips.
I wonder how it went. She looks kind of uncomfortable. Yeah, we should go check it out.
Just one quick kiss.
No.
Just real quick.
No. Guys, what's going on? We just got back from a date, but I think he's getting ready to leave. Okay. Alright. Bye. Bye now. Bye, guys.
I know this was a short segment, and unfortunately I couldn't give you the full training video, but I do thank you for this opportunity to look at course design and redesign from a very fresh perspective. Thank you.